If you follow Team Corrali, you know these guys have been working hard to create some of the most exciting and durable off-road bashers out there on the market. They have some wild trucks, monster trucks, and buggies that are capable of some sick air and some high speeds. And I've got two of their popular 4S trucks to check out today. I've got the Punisher 4 and the Kagama 4. And by the end of this video, you're gonna know if one of these beasts is right for you. Well, here they are. We've got the Kagama 4, we've got the Punisher 4. Both are 4S powered basher trucks with brushless motors and big shocks on all four corners and these really gnarly lug tires, same wing. What is Team Corrali trying to pull on us? Nothing really. They are one of the manufacturers that offer different body styles on the same platform to give us more options other than just swapping out body colors. I really like that they do this, and these look like some really fun trucks. And since they're pretty much the same thing, I thought I'd put them both in the same video. So let's start off by taking a look at the bodies. So although they have the two different body styles, they also have different colors to choose from. You could do red, green, or blue. Love the blue on the Punisher, and I don't know, the red just spoke to me for the Kagama, and I like the graphics on the Kagama, kind of wild. If you like something a little bit more toned down, you could check out the Punisher. They've got a little bit of graphic going on in the center here with these gray stars and triangles and stuff like that, but two wild looking bodies. Love the grille and headlights on the Punisher. That's what really sets it off for me. But I also like that this has these large roof skids on top, where the Kagama, they're just a little bit smaller. And sometimes the way I drive, I'll need those larger skids. They do have body clips on them, but look at the size of the body post, almost fifth scale in size, and the body clips are tethered. But either one looks good. And then they have the corresponding wing decals to go along with it that carries the graphic style and everything. Good look to them. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. Now let's get the body off so you can check out the chassis. And with the bodies off, RC driver, you can see the chassis are the same between them. Same suspension setup. The only real change is the way the rear body mount is set up between the two, because the Punisher is a little bit narrower in the rear. Actually, I shouldn't say that. There is one other change, and that is to the chassis. So it has the Kagama 4 logo etched into the bottom, and of course the Punisher will say Punisher 4. So they are an aluminum plate chassis, press bent, so you got that nice beveled edge on each side that's got to add some rigidity to it. You can see these little tabs here are for the droop screws, so you'll be able to tune the suspension on these. You can see they've got their large skids on this. They even help support the rear pin plate for the suspension. And flip this guy back over. We could take a look at the top side of the chassis now. So you got mud guards on both sides, large battery trays, the body stiffener up top, lots of bracing throughout, and it's composite bracing on this. And I think for the length of the chassis, that's going to be totally fine for bashers. They do have aluminum brace options, but you got this big brace going from the front steering plate to the center plate, another one to the back. You've got your GNSS plate here in case you want to do some speed runs. Big composite chassis braces down to the chassis itself, so these things are really bulked up. Receiver boxes off to the side. The speed controller mounts a plate right behind the battery box, and you can even remove this plate here to get more room in the battery box if you have larger battery packs. But let's take a look at the suspension now. Look at the size of the steering knuckles on that. They've improved these over the years. I like that they've got metal plates for the steering link. The size of the suspension arm looks good. Not a lot of webbing. They just went right for just solid material throughout. Just a little webbing up top, but man, those look like some solid arms. And then in the rear, they have an H-arm setup, so you can see that one has a little bit more webbing to it, but it looks like you could also put inserts on these. They got the holes for it. Look at the size of the hub carriers in the rear. Those things are huge. Then it's got fixed links up top. But look at that. On the inside of the rear, those are metal plates that the upper link attaches to. So that's really cool because the shock towers are actually composite. And actually, they have metal plates in the front too. So, all right, that's awesome. That's looking better. I like these shock towers. Even though they're a composite shock tower, really thick. Those things look solid. I like the caps on the top of the shocks. The shock caps themselves, those are aluminum, and then the bodies are a composite. They are threaded, so you could adjust preload and everything. I mean, even the size of the collars. Everything's like oversized A-scale on these. These look really cool. Suspension has some serious pack to it. Look at that. That looks like it's just set up for big air jumping right out of the box. I have to really put some pressure on that thing for the suspension to collapse. Wow. They got a setup on here. I think we're definitely gonna hit some big air jumps with this thing. Got that massive wheelie wheel on the back, rear skid bumper. These tires look pretty good too. They are a hard compound rubber. So if you're hitting asphalt and dirt, you're getting your dual use out of these. 17mm hex, and those spokes are pretty thick, so you shouldn't have any problems with the wheels on this. But let's get into that drivetrain now. So front, center, and rear gear differentials, just like you would see on any other A scale. They have diff oil on the inside, so they are sealed differentials. The front has CVs and then dog bones throughout the rest of the drivetrain. You can see they got seal out drives, of course. Now the CVs on this, they do have the captured C-ring on the outside for that pin. And I've heard that that can walk out on early models, and then they have a fix for it. So just a heads up there. Looks like your standard A-scale bulked up drivetrain. The diff supports in the center, those are composite, but I like how they split, so it's kind of an easier access to get that differential out if you need to do any maintenance. There's a little bit of work to get this upper plate off. You got these O-rings and lots of screws to pull out, but you can access it with a little bit of work. There's a lot of bracing here, guys. They bulked this area up, and there had to be a little bit of give. And that was in the maintenance department. Hopefully you don't have to do a lot of maintenance. Steel spur gear on it and composite cups on the differentials. And let's get into the electronics next. So you've got the very prop 7225 servo, Metal Gear servo, metal or aluminum servo horn on top. It's supposed to be a high torque servo. And then for the motor, you've got your Curon 725. And this is a 2150 kV motor. No cooling fan from the factory. Everybody's going with cooling fans nowadays. Surprised we didn't see one on here, but they do have one on the speed controller. Kind of on the small side, but it is there. And it's the Torox 135 speed controller, handles 2 to 3S, even an HV output for the servo, so you get maximum power at steering servo. And it does have a little programmability to it, like drag, brake, and punch. You got your XT90 plug on it. I like that it's a single plug. These dual plug things, I'm kind of getting over it because they bounce around. So I definitely like that setup. Here's a quick look at the radio system. Looks like Corrali's gone the small radio route. However, this one's pretty comfortable, has your basic trim functions. Corrali's just been making some solid RCs lately, and we're gonna have to go and travel all over today to really showcase what these trucks could do, see what they're capable. Let's head outside and drive them. Well, guys, I made the effort to go to the BMX track, and this place is just pure mud, and it's a little beat up. So I'm gonna skip out on it and head over to RC Madness, because I know that place will be perfect. Actually got some pretty good air there. This thing flies pretty good. Kind of want to stay here, but yeah, it's too muddy. We're gonna switch things up and have some fun at the Basher lot. Here we go, guys. We're gonna get this truck dirty. We're gonna get some serious air. I'm up at the RC Madness Basher lot. Just gonna have some fun with this truck. We're rocking a 4S pack right now. So I'm gonna start off with the little jumps, you know, keep things tame. Well, that wasn't tame. That was a pretty big launch off of that. Send it this way. That's a little smoother. There we go. So these smaller jumps, seems like it lands pretty well, a little bounce. I mean, that was pretty flat right there. Send it back this way. Oh, probably could have backflipped that. I probably should have kept in it. Big air. Now when I hit the brakes, I know there's just a little delay, so if I have to recorrect by hitting the throttle, there's a little hesitation there. I wonder if that could be corrected by just bumping up the punch. All right, now this narrow jump right here, I gotta stand behind this one. My side view isn't that good. Look how narrow this one is. Don't know how it's gonna react off of this one. Nice, it just like settled right in on that. Little bounce in the rear. It's not set up too bad. Remember in the studio I said that suspension seemed pretty stiff? So yeah, for going off plastic bike ramps, it's probably gonna be fine. And now the big jump. That one I know I can backflip off of. I did one backflip before. Source nice and smooth through the air. Wow. All right, here we go. Going backflip it again. No, front flip. Crash. Serious crash. All four wheels still seem to be in the right spot. That's a good sign. Still good. I'm gonna send it again. Yeah, there's just that little hesitation there. I like to blip the throttle back to correct it. Here we go. And that broke it. I had an awesome time behind the wheel of these two trucks, and as you saw, the dirt action with the Punisher was just intense. And as I go over the wrap up here, I want to show you what the Kagama 4 went through at the skate park. So back with the Punisher 4, obviously I came home with a little bit of work to do, but let's put that aside for a second. I want to tell you about the good stuff because this thing was absolutely killer to drive. Launching this thing off of jumps, it's set up pretty well out of the box. And driving this thing, and I've said this before about Team Corrales, they're like driving tanks. They just feel solid. When they land, you know that all that bracing on the inside is just holding everything together, keeping that chassis flat, bracing everything up, and it's just a solid truck to drive. It does feel a little bit edgy, and I think that's a bit because this truck and both trucks have a bit of camber gain to them. You can see it's got some positive camber, and then as it goes through the camber cycle, you wind up with negative camber. And that combined with these boxy type tires makes it feel a little bit edgy. And sometimes it's fun to drive and sometimes it's not so much fun. I think a tire swap would change that. However, these tires work pretty well, so you probably want to burn through them first before doing any sort of tire swap. I think the truck is powered pretty well out of the box, but you can tell that it wants more, and it's pretty much known in the Corrale community that these could take a bigger pinion gear on them. In fact, if you look in the back of the manual, they've got a 15 tooth and a 17 tooth. Those are the two popular options to go with. But the system can take it, and it does have some good power. And the steering servo works really well too. Now for the Kagama 4 in the skate park, that was killer there too. I had so much fun ripping this thing around the concrete. And this is a tough truck. We've got a lot of scrapes and scratches on the bottom, but for the most part, I don't have too many scratches on top because this thing kept on all four wheels. And I really like the throttle control that these had. There seems to be a little bit of a lag when you're going from brake to forward for some corrections, but the speed controller does have plenty of punch. The motor has plenty of power. The 13-tooth pinion worked fine in the skate park for the size of it, so that's another consideration. If you got a small lot, I mean, that 13-tooth might be fine. You get longer run times out of it, but yeah, if you need more power, you'll be able to go up with just a pinion gear and have a blast with these. And now we'll get to the broken arm here. Obviously, everything isn't invincible out there. And when I hit that jump and saw it going nose down into the ground, I knew before it hit that that thing was breaking. It was at the perfect angle that breaks suspension arms. And things happen. Luckily, Team Corrale has some killer parts support. And you can order through their website, or here in the US, HRP also distributes Corrale. So you got good avenues to get spare parts if you do need them. I'm impressed with what they went through. I'm impressed that all I broke was an arm on that massive hit. And watch out for Team Corrale. They keep on improving with every release. They've got some really exciting stuff coming out. And if you're into these, I'll have links for them in the video description below.